On construction sites and in warehouses, there is a constant need to move large and heavy loads. Traditionally, this task is handled by forklift trucks. While they can both lift and transport materials, they are often bulky and costly to operate. The Handtruck PT140 offers a practical alternative: compact, easy to maneuver, and highly efficient. It can lift up to 309 pounds, and the unit weighs about 97 pounds without add-ons and folds down to just 10.4 inches tall, making it easy to store in a van or tuck away in a workshop. The lift runs on a 12-volt actuator that you control with a thumb switch. An 18-volt lithium battery powers the system for up to about 50 lifts on one charge, so you can get through a typical job without swapping batteries. You can change how high it lifts by choosing different attachments. With the standard self-closing hook, it can pick from roughly 1 foot off the ground to a bit over 6 feet high. If you use the optional fork attachment, it lifts to around 5 feet. To use it, you lean the frame toward or away from the load to catch it, and then press the switch to raise or lower. For safety and battery life, it turns itself off after 10 minutes of not being used. Because it's not a full forklift, most people won't need special licenses to operate it. You can buy it for $4,500. Even the simplest lock or doorknob requires you to make a few holes in the door. Their size must be calculated with great precision. Otherwise, the knob won't fit properly or may end up being loose, which will cause problems in operation. A set for door lock installation from Lowe's company costs only $30. It will help you make a perfectly sized hole for a knob in the right place. The kit includes everything you need for the job: 2 hole saws, 2 1/8 inch for the main lock and 1 inch for the latch, a spade bit for wood, 2 small drill bits, a screwdriver bit, an arbor with a pilot bit, and the bracket that holds everything in place while you drill. The process is broken down into 3 main steps: set, drill, and install. First, you position the jig on the door. Then you drill the holes through the guides. Finally, you install the lock. One helpful feature is the auto strike locator. This tool helps line up the latch on the door with the strike plate on the frame, so you don't have to measure everything yourself. A voltage detector is a must-have tool for electricians. This model comes in at a price of $250. It can pick up electromagnetic fields from 120 volts up to 500 kilovolts. With different sensitivity levels, it can be adjusted to match the environment. The device itself is very small, about 0.40 by 2 by 1.5 inches, and weighs less than an ounce. It runs on a rechargeable battery, lasting up to 80 hours per charge. Workers can attach it to their hard hat using a clip. The Halo SL is the lighting part of the system, giving users 3 options: a 360-degree ring light with 276 lumens, a spotlight with 406 lumens, and a flood mode with 262 lumens for close tasks. It's powered by a single lithium-ion battery, with runtimes ranging from just 1.5 hours up to more than 121 hours, depending on the setting. Both devices are built tough, meeting the IP67 standard for dust resistance and protection against water immersion up to 3.3 feet for 30 minutes. The system uses a mix of lights and sounds to warn users of electrical hazards. LEDs change color and beeping speeds up as a person gets closer to danger. Yellow and red lights indicate voltage, while blue signals current. An auto-sense feature can reduce false alarms by pausing warnings if steady background fields are present, only resuming if the user moves closer. The sixth sense also includes a fall detector. It looks like the blocks are floating above the street, but it's just paint. From a distance, especially from a driver's seat, this crosswalk appears three-dimensional, even though it's completely flat. The design uses shadows, color contrast, and angled lines to trick the eye. While it might just look like a regular crosswalk to someone walking across it, drivers see something that looks like a solid object in the road, which naturally makes them slow down. Getting that illusion right takes careful planning. The lines have to be drawn at just the right angle, and the painters have to be very accurate. Even small mistakes in the shape or color can ruin the effect. It's not a quick job either. Compared to a normal crosswalk, this one takes more time and effort. The paint needs to match the road and the lighting, and the whole thing has to be seen from a specific angle to really work. This idea started in India, and later showed up in places like Iceland, Switzerland, and France. The goal is simple: get drivers to slow down near crosswalks without using speed bumps or traffic lights. And it works. When drivers see what looks like a raised barrier, even if they know it's just paint, they usually hit the brakes. The illusion only works from a certain distance and height, usually from where a driver would naturally see it. If you're standing close, or looking from above, the effect disappears. But when everything is lined up just right, it's surprisingly convincing. On construction sites, paper tape is commonly used to cover and seal the joints. Its purpose is to stop cracks from appearing later on. However, there's a problem. The tape itself isn't sticky. Because of this, workers first need to spread a thin coat of spackling paste over the joint. This step must be done quickly and evenly before the paste begins to harden. In short, the process is quite demanding and requires precision. What's more, the job usually takes place in 2 separate stages, which makes it even more labor-intensive. The product Hardened simplifies things, turning the whole task into a single step. This tool lets you apply joint compound and paper tape in one smooth pass. It's built for flat seams, butt joints, and inside corners, repeatable moves so your taping goes faster and looks cleaner. Inside the mud tube, the surfaces are hard anodized, so they don't wear down as fast and won't leave tracks in the finish. A longer, knurled grip helps you hold and control the tool. You control mud flow and tape feed with a pump-style action. There's also an adjustable brake, so you can set the tape tension exactly how you like it while you work. A quick release latch makes it easy to change rolls of tape and open the tool for cleaning. Like any drywall tool, it needs regular cleaning. Drywall compound can build up inside and hurt performance, so the quick release cap helps you rinse and scrub faster. Manuals and part diagrams make maintenance and replacements easy. Fully loaded, it's not light. Long sessions, especially on ceilings, can be tiring. Hardened costs $1,500. Many high-altitude jobs, like repairing wind turbines or working on power lines, require workers to climb up and down repeatedly. The challenge is even greater because these lines are usually suspended about 25 meters above the ground. To put it into perspective, after just 12 climbs, you'd have scaled the equivalent height of the Eiffel Tower. For a faster, safer, and more comfortable solution, you could invest $15,500 in this winch. The whole setup, including the carrying case and accessories, weighs about 29 pounds. It can lift at a speed of around 79 feet per minute and lower slightly faster. It handles up to 440 pounds, whether that's one person with equipment or just equipment alone. You can control the speed precisely, and there's even a remote that works up to nearly 500 feet away in a straight line. The device is built with smart battery controls that manage things like temperature, charging, and power flow. For more, there is an emergency stop button and a backup system that lets you lower manually if the power cuts out. How far it can lift on a single charge depends on the weight being moved and the temperature around it. In average conditions, about 220 pounds at 68 degrees Fahrenheit, it can go up around 650 feet before needing a recharge. Heavier loads shorten that range. If needed, There's an option to plug into an external power source, which can stretch the range a lot farther, up to 1,640 feet for lighter loads. Charging the battery takes about an hour and 20 minutes. It can also recover a bit of energy while coming down, though that's limited if the battery is already full. Extreme heat or cold affects how well it works, and it will automatically reduce power if it gets too hot or too cold inside. A circular saw can generate noise levels of around 90 decibels, while forklifts often exceed 100. In a busy work environment, that kind of noise forces workers to shout just to be heard, and quickly leads to discomfort. To help with this, the US-based company Sonetics, a leading provider of communication systems designed for tough environments, offers an effective solution. Their headsets include two key features that make a real difference. First, they automatically cap incoming sound at a safe 82 decibels. Second, they allow you to hear what's happening around you without having to remove them, keeping you both protected and aware of your surroundings. It uses DECT7 technology to let people talk clearly with each other, even when machines are running or the environment is chaotic. The system allows for full two-way conversations, so no one has to wait their turn to speak. It works over distances of up to 1,600 feet in open areas and uses strong encryption to keep communications secure. The headsets come with built-in hearing protection, rated to block out 24 decibels of noise. Each ear dome has microphones that pick up surrounding sounds and mix them into the conversation, but only up to a safe level. Anything louder than 85 decibels gets reduced automatically. CommHub units support between 5 and 20 users, depending on the model. Some also let you connect phones or tablets. They offer multi-channel options and can be linked with cables for larger teams. Back in the last century, a German company surprised everyone with these hammers. They run on a unique type of engine called a free piston combustion engine. It works by igniting a small mix of fuel and air by hand. That spark creates enough energy to push a piston upward, which then drops back down and repeats the cycle. Once it starts, the motion continues without needing anything extra to keep it going. There were two main versions, one weighing around 1,100 pounds and another over 2,700 pounds. The difference in size meant they could handle different kinds of work, from lighter, more controlled tasks to jobs that needed a lot more force. What stands out most about the design is how simple it is. There aren't a lot of moving parts, which means less can go wrong, even with regular use. That's one reason why some of these hammers from the 1950s still work today. They're sometimes brought out and shown at industry events where people are still drawn to the sound, movement, and power behind the machine. These hammers were mostly used to pack down soil or press gravel into place. The machine hits the ground repeatedly, using nothing more than the power of combustion and gravity. Everything works together, the chamber, the piston, the frame, to create a strong, steady strike over and over. This is the first knuckle boom stationary laser screed machine in the world, produced by the American company Samro. The SkyScreed 25 runs on a 32.5 horsepower engine and has a 25-foot knuckle boom arm. It uses an 8-foot wide screed head that doesn't rely on an auger, which means it can move in any direction. The screed head and upper frame can both rotate a full 360 degrees. It sits on 3 stabilizers and is controlled by a wireless remote. The system includes laser-guided controls, fast setup tools, a self-leveling system, and extras like a built-in pressure washer. When transported, it measures 25 feet long, just over 8 feet wide, and almost 8 feet tall, weighing around 9,000 pounds. What makes this machine different is its ability to work on both ground-level slabs and elevated decks. That means it's not just for floors on the ground. It can also be used on upper levels of parking structures or buildings. The knuckle boom arm lets workers reach over obstacles like rebar and pipe openings, so there's less need to stop and move the machine around. In terms of how it performs, it can screed up to 5,000 square feet per hour. Floor flatness scores usually land between the mid-30s and low 40s, depending on the mix and conditions. A feature called Quick Pass helps get the concrete close to level quickly, cutting down on how much has to be done by hand. The fact that it doesn't use an auger means the screed can move freely in any direction, which helps speed up the process. The way construction materials are changing shows how the industry is moving towards smarter and stronger solutions. One example is a special type of ground grid designed to work with soil, gravel, or stone. It has a three-dimensional structure that spreads weight evenly and holds the surface in place, even when cars drive over it again and again. Because it keeps its shape, the ground doesn't sink or shift. Another important feature is that it lets water flow through naturally instead of pooling, which helps prevent erosion and keeps the surface stable over time. This grid is made to handle pressure without losing its form. Whether it is used in areas with steady pedestrian traffic or in spaces where vehicles pass frequently, it stays firm. That reliability means the surface lasts longer and doesn't need constant repairs or adjustments. It can be used in many everyday settings. Home driveways, private roads, and walking paths are common examples. It also works well in golf courses, sports grounds, and other recreational areas where the ground needs to stay even and strong. In all of these places, the grid allows water to drain properly, so the surface doesn't weaken or break apart after rain. Earlier geogrids were mostly flat and less flexible, and while they played a major role in building roads and infrastructure, this newer design takes things further. It shows how technology has improved to meet the needs of modern projects, creating stronger and longer-lasting surfaces. Next in our lineup is the ExoHeaver exoskeleton. It is a wearable device that helps people handle heavy tools with less effort. It weighs about 52 pounds and can support tools up to 110 pounds on its own, or up to 132 pounds when used with an extra lifting module. It's designed for workers between 5 feet 3 inches and 6 feet 3 inches tall, and weighing between 132 and 265 pounds. The system combines a solid metal frame with a small motor-powered winch that helps hold tools in place. Instead of the arms and shoulders carrying all the weight, the exoskeleton transfers it down through the hips and legs. Exomed, a company from Russia, has been developing these systems since 2016. Their goal is to reduce the strain workers face when lifting or holding tools for long periods. The Enforcer is especially useful in jobs where people have to work overhead or use heavy tools for long shifts. Unlike fully motorized systems that need a lot of power, this one combines mechanical parts with a small motor, so it's more efficient and simpler to operate. There are several other models in the ExoHeaver family. The low backer helps support the lower back during lifting or bending. The hold-upper seems to assist with arm support, though details are limited. The ExoSimple is a lighter, simpler version of the system. Each version is designed for a specific kind of task, but they all share the same idea: shift the physical load away from the upper body. The weight of concrete blocks varies according to their size and shape. Some of them can weigh anywhere from 20 to 40 kilograms, which is quite heavy. Considering that a worker may have to lift dozens of these blocks in a single day, it's easy to see why construction is such a demanding and time-consuming job. In fact, workers may end up lifting as much as 2.5 tons of material daily. To help with this, the Mule is a construction robotics device designed to make building tasks faster and easier. The Mule is a machine that helps lift and move heavy building materials, making hard jobs easier for construction workers. It doesn't replace people. It works alongside them. By holding, lifting, and guiding heavy items like blocks, stone, or precast panels, it allows one person to handle tasks that would usually need two people or cause strain over time. There are two versions of the Mule, the ML150 and the MZ100. First one runs on standard power from the job site and can lift up to 150 pounds. It reaches out 12 feet and can stand up to 20 feet tall. The arm alone weighs 870 pounds, and the full system, with its forks and base, weighs over 1,000 pounds. It stretches over 14 feet long, but can be folded down to a smaller size for transport or storage. It comes with different attachments, so it can grab various types of blocks or panels depending on the task. Meanwhile, the MZ100 works on battery power. Its battery can last up to 32 hours on a single charge, and even just 30 minutes of charging can give it a few more hours of use. It can lift up to 100 pounds and uses a belt system to move materials. This is a lithium-ion battery, powered brad nailer. The American company Paslode manufactures these devices. The main feature of this tool is its low weight, only 2 kilograms, and a compact size. It's made for detailed finish work like installing trim, baseboards, and molding. It uses 18-gauge nails that are loaded in a straight line, and it can handle nail lengths from 5/8 inch up to 2 inches. The magazine holds a single strip of up to 70 nails. It fires one nail at a time using a sequential trigger system, which helps keep things controlled. You can adjust how deep the nails go, and the no-mar tip helps avoid marking up the surface you're working on. There's also a belt hook to keep it close by when you're moving around. The tool needs both a fuel cell and a battery to work properly. The fuel cell gives enough power for about 1,200 nails before it needs replacing. It's marked with a date, and using it within 21 months is recommended. The battery runs the internal systems and can last for up to 12,000 shots per charge. If you're in a pinch, a quick 2-minute charge will give you around 200 more nails. Full charging can take anywhere from a few minutes to a couple of hours, and you can buy it at a price of $350. The unusual finish of concrete surfaces is becoming increasingly popular in construction work. There are a variety of ways to do this. One method makes this easier by using a big, reusable stencil instead of traditional stamping tools. Instead of pressing a small stamp into the concrete over and over, this stencil covers a large section at once. That means workers can move faster and don't have to spend as much time lining things up perfectly with each press. The stencil is placed carefully onto the wet concrete. Getting the edges aligned just right is important. If they're even slightly off, the brick pattern won't look right. Once everything is in place, workers roll over the stencil with special tools to press the brick design into the surface. After the pattern is set, a dry coloring powder is sprinkled on top. This powder is worked into the concrete using a trowel. It helps bring out the lines between the bricks and gives the surface a more natural, brick-like look. Then, a thin layer of wet mortar is spread over the top to deepen the texture and make the details stand out even more. The stencil is pressed one more time before it's removed. Next, water is sprayed gently over the surface to wash away any leftover material and reveal the clean lines of the pattern. The concrete is then finished with plaster and a clear glaze, which protects the surface and gives it a smoother appearance. Dismantling old floor tiles is usually a long and time-consuming process. Workers use a variety of tools, such as rotary hammers, drills, chisels, and hammers. Besides, it's a rather dangerous process too. The craftsman has to spend a long time in a room filled with construction dust, large pieces of tile, and cement. Like all the other tools shown in today's video, Ripper Stripper is designed to make the work of builders easier, faster, and safer. There are several models to choose from, depending on the size of the job. Blade sizes range from 5 inches to 18 inches wide. Some models are handheld for smaller spots, while others are walk-behind or self-propelled for larger areas. All of them run on electric power, and the bigger ones use stronger dual motor systems. Each machine comes with sharp, heavy-duty steel blades that are made to last longer. These blades are heat-treated and come with a coating to help them hold up better over time. They're also marked with helpful information on how to use them correctly. Some models use the same blades, so it's easier to manage parts without needing a different one for every machine. For bigger jobs, the FCS18 is the heavy-duty option. It has a wider blade, self-propelled drive, and a frame designed for continuous work. It's meant for high-use settings and can cover large floor areas in less time. You can buy Ripper Stripper for $1,800. Microsoft has a reputation for broadening its business ventures. One of its latest steps was the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. Alongside this, the company also unveiled mixed reality glasses designed for use in construction, which we'll look into now. The system comes with a 2K display and a wide 43-degree field of view. It uses transparent lenses, so users can see both the real-world and digital content at the same time. For tracking movement and position, it has 4 visible light cameras and 2 infrared cameras for eye tracking. It also includes a depth sensor that helps it understand space and distance. There's an 8-megapixel camera for photos and video, which records at 1080p. For communication, it uses 5 microphones and a bone-conductive headset that lets users hear clearly in noisy areas without blocking their ears. It connects through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and includes 64 gigabytes of storage. The whole setup weighs about 2.75 pounds. This device is mainly used on construction sites or industrial locations. It combines Microsoft's HoloLens 2 with a safety hard hat, so workers can see 3D models and building plans directly overlaid on the actual work site. This helps them check if things are in the right place, catch problems early, and measure parts of the job with accuracy. Using Trimble Connect for HoloLens, teams can share files, make notes, and hold live meetings between the field and the office. It supports files like Revit and SketchUp, and it can lock digital models to real-world surfaces. This makes it useful for walkthroughs, inspections, and spotting mistakes before they become bigger issues. Work-related injuries don't just hurt people, they also slow down productivity, costing the US about $21 billion every year. On top of that, nearly 1 in 5 construction workers report experiencing severe pain. It's clear that the strain on workers is too high. That's why companies like ExoZeroG are stepping in. Their innovative robotic arm is designed to take the weight off workers' shoulders, making it easier to lift tools and heavy loads without the same physical toll. The person using the tool declares that it feels like it's floating. There are 2 versions of the system, one meant for aerial work platforms and another for scaffolding. The aerial model weighs about 34.8 pounds, and the scaffold version is around 35.4 pounds. Both can hold tools weighing up to 36 pounds and are designed to be mounted in under a minute. Once installed, the arm connects to the tool through a docking ring, a receiver, and a rotation lock pin. These parts let the worker keep the tool steady, rotate it, or remove it when needed. For overhead or vertical work, extra straps and slings can be used to provide more control. The system supports a range of heavy tools, including grinders, rotary hammers, impact wrenches, rivet busters, demolition hammers, and chipping hammers. Getting a surface ready before painting or adding a finish is one of the most important steps. This tool brings together 3 different wheels that each do a specific job to clean up surfaces like metal, wood, and plastic. The first is the eraser wheel. It's made to take off stickers, decals, tape, and glue without scratching the surface underneath. Instead of grinding it down, it rubs the material off gently. That's helpful when you're working on areas where the finish still matters. The next is the stripping wheel. This one handles tougher stuff like old paint, dirt, and oxidation. It works on different materials and removes layers that might stop paint or coatings from sticking. It clears things fast, but doesn't damage what's underneath. Then there's the wire wheel, which takes on the hardest jobs. It has stiff metal bristles that knock off built-up coatings like varnish or layers of old material. It doesn't grind away the surface or change its shape. It just clears off what's on top. That makes it good for parts that need a deep clean, but still need to stay the same size and shape. Woodworking machines are dangerous and can cause injury even if you're very careful. This is because the saw sometimes exerts too much force on the workpiece. It bounces aside, and inertia can push the palm of your hand right under the blade. You can use the gripper to avoid such problems when working with wood. It's produced by Microjig. It's noteworthy that it doesn't affect the quality of work either. The device weighs 1.8 pounds and measures 6 by 8 by 2 inches. It works with material from 1/4 inch up to 5 inches wide and fits common machines like table saws. The Safe Rip Kit adds a simple visual aid. Measuring stickers and clear orange cursors help set the fence and the center leg, so the blade path stays clear. This reduces the chance of placing the center leg too close to the cut line. The center leg moves to match different stock widths, so it can guide both the keeper piece and the offcut at the same time. The balance support sets to the workpiece thickness, helping the device stay upright and square as it moves. On the bottom, a green tread grips wood, composites, plastics, and even aluminum. If dust builds up, a quick clean brings back traction. 3 forces act together: down to hold the board on the table, in toward the fence to keep alignment, and forward to feed the piece through the blade or cutter. This robot is designed to save time and effort by getting digital layouts onto the floor 10 times faster than a human. It can draw in widths from 0.07 to 2 inches and keeps its print head about 3/4 of an inch above the surface. It connects wirelessly with surveying tools from brands like Leica, Topcon, and Trimble, which help it stay on track while it moves. The robot can handle surface bumps up to about 3/4 of an inch and works on slopes up to 2.5 degrees. It weighs just less than 20 pounds, and with its case, it's closer to 39 pounds. It runs on batteries that last around 4 hours each, and 2 can be swapped to cover a full work shift. Instead of using tape measures and chalk, this system takes a digital design file and prints it straight onto the job site floor. The layout starts in a CAD file, which is prepared using a special HP plugin. That plugin helps define what should be printed and where. After uploading the file to HP's cloud system, an operator at the site can pull it up using a tablet or phone. To begin, a survey tool called a robotic total station is placed on site and linked to the robot. That connection helps the robot know exactly where it is and where it needs to go. It moves by itself, avoids obstacles, and can find its way again if it temporarily loses connection. Operators can choose exactly what to print, whether that's lines, labels, or alignment points. This robotic total station is designed for precise results on construction sites. It can measure angles with an accuracy of 2 arcseconds and distances with a margin of just 2 millimeters plus 2 parts per million when using a reflector. Its red laser stays sharp with a spot size smaller than 4 millimeters at about 130 feet. One of its standout features is that a single person can control it remotely, thanks to built-in cameras and vision technology. There's no need to walk back and forth. It can find and lock onto targets on its own. It also checks and adjusts its level automatically and can recalibrate itself while in the field, which helps it stay accurate without interrupting the job. The station works with Trimble's FieldLink software, which helps manage layout tasks, handle data, and connect with building models. It also supports mixed reality tools like the XR10 and HoloLens 2. These let crews see digital plans overlaid on the actual site, helping them place points exactly where they should go. Depending on the job, the station can be upgraded with new features so it can grow with the needs of the project. For MEP teams working on pipes, ducts, or wiring, this system helps place layout points in 3D space with high accuracy. Structural crews can use it for placing anchor bolts, setting slab edges, and laying out formwork. Since only one person is needed to operate it, it helps save time and reduce the need for extra crew members. Solar energy is becoming more and more popular, especially as Germany rolls out a strategy to make it easier for everyday households to install solar panels. This system is perfect for both professionals in the field and regular people who just want to power their homes with clean energy. It can lift up to 264 pounds and reach a height of nearly 33 feet. The lifting speed goes up to about 49 feet per minute. It runs on a 24-volt lithium-ion battery that charges in around an hour and a half. On a full charge, it can lift heavy loads multiple times, about 30 runs with the maximum weight, or 50 runs with lighter materials. The hoist uses an electric winch and comes with a remote control that works wirelessly. Some versions also allow you to control it with a smartphone over Wi-Fi. The system is made up of separate parts: ladder sections, a winch base, and different platform options. For example, the longer ladders weigh just over 40 pounds each, while the base and platforms vary depending on the setup. When fully packed, the complete 33-foot kit weighs around 260 pounds and fits into a space just under 8 feet long and 4 feet wide. You don't need any tools to put it together, and one person can usually set it up in about 5 minutes. When the hoist isn't needed, the ladder parts can still be used like any standard stepladder or leaning ladder. This adds more ways to use the equipment without having to switch tools. Building a staircase out of bricks is a hands-on process that uses basic tools and materials. Unlike modern staircases made in factories or built with metal parts, this method doesn't need any heavy equipment or big teams. One person, with some bricks, mortar, and patience, can do the whole job on their own. It all starts at the bottom. The first step is made by laying bricks flat and making sure they're steady and level. Once that's done, the next step goes right on top, set back a little to create the upward slope. This continues step by step until the staircase takes shape. Since the stairs rise at an angle, it's not as easy as just stacking bricks. Each new step has to be placed on a slanted surface, and that creates some problems. Some bricks, especially the ones on the lower edge of each step, need to be trimmed so they sit flat. The person building the staircase chips away at them carefully until they fit just right. Any small spaces left between the bricks are filled in with mortar. This helps hold everything together and makes the whole staircase stronger. It also keeps the bricks from shifting over time. When done carefully, the result is a sturdy staircase that can last a long time. It may take more effort than using ready-made stairs, but it works well, especially in places where those other options aren't easy to get. If you want to make sure that the paving stone or tile covering will please your eyes for many years, you should choose the right building materials, paying special attention to the jointing mortar. It binds the elements of the covering together, keeping the surface stable. It meets strict building standards, including M10 for strength and CG2WA for water resistance. The particles in the mix are fine, up to 1.2 millimeters, and it won't burn, with a fire safety rating of Class A1. It also contains very little chloride, which helps protect surrounding materials. The mortar works best in joints that are between 6 and 15 millimeters wide and at least 8 millimeters deep. It sticks well to surfaces like natural stone, clinker bricks, or outdoor tiles. This makes it a solid choice for places that deal with rain, freezing temperatures, or even exposure to salts and chemicals. One 25-kilogram bag of dry mix combines with about 2.1 liters of water and produces around 15 liters of ready-to-use mortar. For standard joints, expect to use about 5 to 5.5 kilograms per square meter. You'll have roughly an hour to use the mix before it starts to harden. Before applying the mortar, the surface should be solid, clean, and free from dust or loose bits. If the area is very dry or absorbs water quickly, it helps to lightly dampen it first. Once applied, the fresh joints should be protected from direct sun, rain, strong wind, or freezing temperatures so they set properly. Also, using the same amount of water for every batch helps keep the color and texture consistent. TTR1 is a device used in horizontal directional drilling to help map out the ground before digging begins. Instead of giving just a few data points, like a typical GPS or survey, it collects continuous elevation data as someone walks along the planned drill path. This creates a much more detailed picture of the surface. It measures elevation changes accurately, within about 2 inches, over distances up to 500 feet. The unit itself is about 41 inches long, 35 inches wide, and 4 inches tall, and weighs around 14 pounds. It runs on an internal battery that lasts up to 40 hours and charges through a standard 5-volt power source. To use it connects to the TeraTrak app on a phone or tablet using Bluetooth. The app is where users plan routes, look at the collected data, and export reports. For drill operators using a DigiTrack Aurora display, bore plans can be sent directly to the remote screen, including utility locations and path details. Along the way, the user can mark important features like pipes or obstacles, and even make small adjustments to the planned path using tools in the app. If there's a section of the route that can't be walked, like a road or ditch, the system lets the user pause, enter the distance and height difference by hand, then continue tracking once past the gap. After walking the path in one direction, the user walks it again in reverse. The system uses both trips to correct any errors and improve accuracy. In today's market, it's hard to find flooring materials that can surprise someone. So, if you want to make a unique floor to amaze all of your guests, you need to use unusual materials. For example, This craftsman has decorated the floor with coins. To understand how many coins you'd need, first you have to choose the denomination of the coins. In this case, for example, British £2 coins were used. Making a floor out of coins starts with glue. The coins are pressed into a layer of construction adhesive that goes on white and turns clear as it dries. This makes the coins stay in place while keeping the metal pattern visible. The most time-consuming part is arranging the coins themselves. Each one has to be lined up carefully, so the pattern looks consistent across the surface. This stage takes a little patience and a steady hand, since small gaps or uneven placement can affect the look of the finished floor. Once the coins are in position, grout is spread across the top. The grout fills the spaces between the coins, gives the surface a more even texture, and adds visual contrast that highlights the design. It needs time to dry completely before the next step. If the resin is added too soon, it can react with the grout and spoil the look of the floor. Can you guess how much this floor cost by adding up the total value of all the coins used? Write in the comment section below. The way a room feels often comes down to the surfaces you see every day. Materials that add texture can completely change the atmosphere. Two interesting options show how design can be combined with function: Faux brick wall finishes and Portherm ceramic blocks. Both bring practical solutions while also adding something special to the space. Creating a faux brick wall starts with some careful planning. The wall is marked to show where each brick will go, and thin tape is placed in a grid to look like mortar lines. Over that, a layer of easy stone plaster is spread. This plaster, made in Turkey, comes as a dry powder and only needs water to be ready. Once it is applied, the surface can be shaped to look like brick, stone, or concrete, depending on the style you want. When it dries, the tape is removed, leaving behind clean lines that look just like real mortar joints. The finished wall has the texture and depth of exposed brick, giving the room an industrial feel without having to rebuild anything. This half-face respirator is designed to help protect against dust, debris, and other airborne particles. It uses a large filter surface to make breathing easier and helps you speak more clearly while wearing it. Even with the visor attached, it weighs less than 6 ounces, so it doesn't feel heavy on your face. The part that seals around your face is made from soft medical-grade silicone, which feels comfortable even if you're wearing it for hours. The straps can be adjusted in several places to help it fit different head shapes and keep a tight seal. There are 2 types of filters available. The FA95 blocks more than 95% of particles, and the FA100 can filter up to about 99.9%. These filters are designed to block solid particles like dust, but they aren't meant for gases, fumes, or paint sprays. The clear visor can be removed without taking off the mask. It helps protect your eyes from flying particles and splash, and it doesn't fog up from your breath. In user tests, the filter showed low airflow resistance, which means it's easier to breathe in and out while wearing it, especially useful during physical work. The company says the mask is made in North America and follows Canadian and US medical safety standards. It is priced $59. Built with strong rare earth magnets, this wristband keeps bolts, nuts, and screws right where you need them, saving you from constantly reaching for tools. Klein Tools, dedicated to crafting professional-grade tools since 1857, brings you this handy, reliable wristband. It measures just over 13 inches long, 4 inches tall, and less than an inch wide, and it weighs about 4 ounces. The outside is made from a tough woven material that can handle daily wear, while the inside has a soft mesh lining that feels more comfortable against the skin. Inside the band are strong, rare earth magnets that can hold onto small metal parts like screws, nails, wire nuts, or drill bits. It's made to keep the parts you're using right where you need them. Instead of carrying screws in your hand, stuffing them in a pocket, or digging through a pouch every few minutes, you just stick them to the wristband. That can make a big difference when you're up on a ladder or working in tight spots, where dropping pieces can be a real hassle. The magnets are strong enough to hold several small parts at once, which can help speed things up during jobs like installing cabinets, wiring outlets, or building frames. You don't need to charge anything or figure out how to set it up. Just wrap it on and start working. This handy accessory is available for $19. Installing laminate panels on a wall using an aluminum frame is a neat and reliable way to finish a room. The process starts by attaching metal guide rails to the wall. These are spaced about 19.7 inches apart and must be lined up exactly straight using a construction level. Getting this part right is important because it keeps the wall panels even and flat. Once the frame is in place, the laminate panels are clipped onto the rails. An aluminum trim is added around the edges to give the whole wall a clean, finished look. Compared to regular PVC panels, this type of laminate is stronger and holds up better against bumps and everyday use. It also helps block out sound and can keep the room a bit warmer, which is useful in both homes and offices. Since it doesn't need glue, the panels can be removed or replaced more easily without damaging the wall underneath. Cleaning the surface is easy. Unlike wallpaper, which can tear or stain, laminate panels can be wiped down with common cleaning products. The smooth finish doesn't trap dust or dirt, so it stays looking good with very little effort. Using the same kind of laminate on the wall as on the floor can make a space feel more put together. And because the panels are attached to a frame, rather than directly to the wall, the surface stays flat and even. There's also a small gap behind the panels, which can come in handy for hiding cables or adding extra insulation later on. A competition is a stage where skilled individuals showcase their abilities to prove they are the best in their profession. But it's not only athletes who seek recognition and rewards for their talent. In this case, we're looking at a construction contest, organized in 2017 by the Mason Contractors Association of America. The video highlights a speed challenge in which participants race to place breeze blocks. Only the finest craftsmen were selected to take part in this unique tournament. Breeze blocks, also known as concrete masonry units, are easy to recognize by their geometric patterns and rough surface. They're used in both structural and decorative ways, like in fences, walls, and partitions. Each block has to meet certain strength standards, with most able to handle about 1,900 pounds of pressure per square inch. Depending on the mix, their weight can vary quite a bit, which affects how well they insulate and how heavy the wall gets. Most blocks have hollow spaces, or special shapes that let you add steel bars and grout for extra strength. When it's time to build, everything starts with the bottom row, which needs to be level and straight. Builders usually start by putting up the corners first. This gives them a reference point to keep the rest of the wall aligned. The rest of the blocks are filled in row by row. Mortar, about 3/8 of an inch thick, is used between each block to hold them together. Steel bars can be added horizontally or vertically, and the hollow parts of the blocks are filled with grout to lock everything in place. Control joints, small gaps, are added every 24 to 25 feet to help prevent cracks as the wall expands or shifts over time. Here's an interesting product from Italy. A local company produces high-quality work shoes with a stylish design. Crafted from calfskin, a Gore-Tex membrane, and fiberglass, these boots may evoke thoughts of a sports car. Yet, they come at a reasonable price of around $270. In return, they offer puncture protection, impact and fuel resistance, and a waterproof, breathable membrane lining. Instead of regular laces, it uses the BOA fit system, which lets you tighten or loosen the fit quickly using a dial, especially useful when you're wearing gloves or need to adjust it often during work. Inside, there's a Gore-Tex lining that keeps water out while still letting your feet breathe. It also has Thinsulate B600 insulation to keep your feet warm in cold weather. Under the foot, a flexible textile layer helps prevent sharp objects from piercing through the sole. The bottom of the boot is made of two parts, a cushioned midsole and a tough rubber outsole. The outsole uses Vibram Fire and ice rubber, designed to grip well in both hot and freezing conditions. It stays flexible even when temperatures drop or rise sharply, and can handle heat up to about 572 degrees Fahrenheit. It's also made to hold traction on slippery surfaces, like metal or tile. The materials hold up well against things like oil and chemicals. A video about construction devices wouldn't be complete without products from Makita. This company has introduced these backpack battery systems in response to the battery-powered tools that have flooded the market. It carries a lot of power, around 1,200 watt-hours, and runs at 36 volts by combining two 18-volt sources. It works with several of Makita's tool platforms, including 18-volt, 36-volt, and 40-volt using the right adapters. The battery holds 33.5 amp-hours of charge and takes about 6 hours to recharge using a standard power supply. Size and weight vary a bit depending on the version, but on average, it's about 19.4 pounds without the harness and roughly the size of a small backpack. It can hold up to 4 18-volt batteries at once, which helps tools run much longer than with a single pack. For 18-volt tools, this setup can offer up to 4 times more runtime. For 36-volt tools, it's usually about double. That's useful when working in places where it's hard to plug in, or when switching out batteries frequently would slow things down. The battery pack can either be worn like a backpack or taken off and set on the ground. It has a base that keeps it stable when it's not being carried, and there's a handle for easy lifting. The harness straps can be adjusted for comfort, and there's a small storage pouch for holding the adapter when it's not in use. There's an LED indicator built in that shows how much charge is left in each battery slot, so it's easy to see when it's time to recharge. EZBUILDER framing kit starts with a set of strong steel brackets that connect regular pieces of wood, like 2x4s, 2x6s, or 4x4s, at perfect angled corners. These brackets are the main part of the kit. They help people build sheds, garages, or other small buildings using materials they can pick up at any hardware store. The kit also comes with clear instructions for 3 types of roof frames: gable, lean-to, and barn style. All you need are some basic tools like a drill, saw, level, and measuring tape. The strength of the structure depends on the type of wood you use and how it's put together. This isn't a full shed kit. You don't get the wood or roofing materials. What it gives you is a way to handle the hardest part of the job, getting the frame right. The brackets are shaped to take care of tricky angles and alignment, so you don't have to figure it all out yourself. Once you cut your boards to the right length, the brackets show you exactly where and how everything fits together. Even if you've never built anything before, you can follow the steps. There's no need to make complicated cuts or no special techniques. The brackets do the hard work of keeping the corner square and the frame strong while you build. If you need more space, you can connect extra kits to make the building bigger. This system is designed to solve a common challenge in construction: how to connect parts of a building that stretch from the inside to the outside without losing heat transfer. It uses a layer of insulation, usually polystyrene, along with steel reinforcement bars that pass through the insulated core. The insulation is usually between about 2.4 and 3.1 inches thick, but it can be adjusted to suit different building needs. Special inserts are added in key areas to keep the structure stable and prevent the insulation from getting squashed. It's commonly used where balconies, overhangs, or other projecting parts connect to the main structure. These connectors help keep the building's insulation intact while still allowing those parts to carry weight and force safely. Depending on the project, different versions are available for connecting concrete parts, steel beams to concrete, or even steel to steel. There's also a version that adds extra fire protection, using stone wool layers to meet high fire resistance standards. From an engineering point of view, the steel bars inside the unit tie into the building's own reinforcement system. This allows them to handle all the forces that act on a structure, including pulling, pushing, and bending. Design instructions are provided to help engineers plan exactly how the system should be used, including details on how to size and place the reinforcement. The product meets European standards for safety and performance and is used in many projects across the continent. It's especially useful where energy efficiency and reducing heat loss are important.